We need to have a serious conversation about a transformation, the kind that isn't talked about in polite society. Look around you. Most men are managed. They are tamed. Their edge has been softened in exchange for a comfortable stall. They enter a space and the energy doesn't shift. They speak and get talked over. They express displeasure and it's met with dismissal. But there's another kind of man. You sense him when he's near. He doesn't need to raise his voice to command a room. His presence alone can calm a storm. Not from admiration, but from a deep, instinctual recognition of something formidable. A certain philosopher from Florence, who penned a definitive guide on statecraft and influence, didn't write his works for the managed man. He wrote for the potent man. He understood that in any competitive environment, choosing to be defenseless isn't nobility. It's a strategic failure. You're watching this because you sense an awakening within. You're weary of the script you were handed. You are beginning to transform into something more defined, more resilient, more consequential. Let's be unambiguous from the start. When I say consequential, I do not mean cruel or brutish. Brute force is the last resort of the undisciplined. I mean consequential like a deep ocean current, silent, immense, steering forces unseen. A man of consequence cannot be easily moved by guilt, pressure, or shame. He operates from a core of unshakable self-knowledge. And that foundation makes him the most influential person in any environment. You're here because you're molting an old identity. You feel the passing of your former, people-pleasing self, and it's unsettling. It should be. Metamorphosis requires the dissolution of the previous form. You might worry you're turning cold or detached. You're not. You're becoming conscious. The ancient Florentine called this virtù, not moral goodness, but capability, excellence, the strength to see the world as it is and navigate it with strategic clarity. Today, we will explore the 7 indicators that you are crossing the point of no return, that you are becoming the man of focused virtù. A man observed. A man whose quiet resolve changes atmospheres. But this isn't a simple checklist. This is an examination of your emerging strength. And there is a final stage, a foundational principle 0, that I will only disclose at the very end. It is the cost of this evolution. Most will refuse to pay it. They will retreat into comfort. Will you? Before we dive deeper, if you're committed to this journey of understanding, support this channel. Hit subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. It fuels this work. Indicator 1. The end of performative niceness. The first sign is often the most jarring. It is the death of your compulsion to be liked. You were conditioned to be agreeable, told that if you're polite, accommodating, and self-sacrificing, the world will reward you. But you've audited the results. The agreeable man finishes last not due to goodness, but due to a perceived lack of alternatives. His amiability is often not a virtue but a fear of conflict, of rejection, of setting boundaries. You are becoming consequential because you've stopped equating being good with being soft. As our Florentine guide noted, it is more sustainable to be respected than adored, because affection is a fickle bond, easily broken for personal gain, while respect is maintained by a consistent understanding of your boundaries and capabilities. This shift manifests when you stop seeking validation and start commanding respect. Your no gains weight. Previously, you might have couched a refusal in excuses to soften the blow. Now, you simply decline. You realize you owe no one a detailed audit of your time, energy, or focus. This will confuse people. They'll say you've changed. What they mean is you've become less convenient to their demands. You are developing strategic decisiveness. This isn't about causing harm. It's about being willing to make the difficult, unpopular choice if it is essential for your integrity or mission. The agreeable man avoids hard truths to preserve comfort. The man of consequence addresses them directly to preserve reality. You are pruning dead weight, extractive relationships, draining habits, not with emotional drama, but with detached precision. This is the mark of a man who values his own mission above the crowd's fleeting approval. If you feel less guilt about prioritizing your peace, take note. You are not becoming worse. You are becoming sovereign. Understanding this shift is crucial. If this resonates, share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on this path. Indicator 2. The calm center. The second sign is your cessation of reactive impulses. Observe the average person, a reactive being. A traffic insult triggers rage. A terse email sparks anxiety. A rejection spirals into dejection. Their internal state is hijacked by external events. You, however, are sensing a new space, a gap between stimulus and your response. A pause. Our philosopher spoke of the fox and the lion. The lion is pure reactive force. The fox is calculated, discerning, aware of traps. You are cultivating the mind of the fox. You are establishing an emotional ground zero. This means you can observe turmoil without being consumed by it. You can stand in chaos with a steady pulse. This is mistaken for indifference. It is not. It is discipline. You now see emotions as data, not dictators. Feeling anger doesn't mandate an angry act. Feeling fear doesn't necessitate a fearful retreat. This makes you virtually immune to manipulation. Manipulators operate by provoking your reaction, a poke to make you jump, a tear to induce guilt. But what happens when you cannot be provoked? When you observe the poke with detached curiosity, when you acknowledge the tear without accepting blame, their leverage vanishes. You become a mirror, reflecting their tactics without absorbing their intent. The Florentines saw fortune as a raging river. The undisciplined are swept away. The man of virtue builds channels and dams. Your emotional control is that dam. You speak slower. You are comfortable in silence. When crisis strikes, your first thought is no longer, why me? But what's the next move? You have transitioned from a victim mindset to a strategist mindset. This calm center is your ultimate advantage. This kind of poise doesn't develop overnight. It takes practice. For more strategies on building this unshakable core, make sure you're subscribed. We're just getting started. Indicator 3. Seeing the world without illusion. The third sign is a fundamental shift in perception. It is the deconstruction of pedestals. As boys, we look upward to fathers, leaders, icons, romantic interests. We assign them a specialness, a mystique, believing they hold answers we lack. As you become consequential, gravity acts. The pedestals crumble. You see your father not as a myth, but as a man navigating life with his own wounds and limitations. You see the acclaimed leader not as a savior, but as a person playing a complex game of power. You see the object of desire not as an angelic ideal, but as a complete human being with strengths and flaws. This is de-idealization. You are removing the illusory sacred veneer from the world. Our Florentine thinker was reviled for doing this to authority. He examined kings and clerics and stated they were not divine instruments, but ambitious individuals in ornate costumes. He advised to look at the practical reality, not the wished-for fantasy. This realization can initially feel like disillusionment, a loss of magic. But it is, in fact, the birth of true vision. When you see people as they are, you can interact with them effectively. You can negotiate, challenge, and collaborate without awe or intimidation. You cannot debate a deity, but you can engage with a peer. This is especially powerful in dynamics of attraction. The uncentered man idealizes, he worships. In doing so, he forfeits his own power and becomes a performer. The man of consequence sees clearly, respects genuinely, but does not deify. Paradoxically, this authentic groundedness is profoundly compelling. You now move through the world with eyes open to the underlying mechanisms, the motivations, the insecurities, the human nature beneath the titles and accolades. You are no longer a spectator in the audience. You are stepping onto the stage. This clear-eyed perspective changes everything. If you're ready to see the world as it is, not as you're told it is, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Now, let's move to the fourth sign. This journey is not for the many, but for the few. If you are among the few, if you choose to see this through, then your next step is to engage. Subscribe to this channel for the deep dives that will guide you. Like this video to signal your commitment. Share it to find your tribe. The path of consequence is solitary, but you don't have to walk it without a map. I will see you in the next video.